Good morning everyone. Okay, so I was up mega late last night getting the details for this video put together because it's just been in the back of my mind for a couple of days, a week or so since the split and we cleared our decks of Erikson. So we did a video, must have been about beginning of March, end of February, called controlling your losses or something like this. This video will be called something similar once I go back and have a look, see what that was called. But mitigating your losses, controlling your losses, whatever, right? So we've got a case file here we've put together on 100 Christian Erikson that we bought right back in the beginning of January, okay? And just how, if you have a look at Erikson, right, this is what you need to understand. This isn't me showing you, this is a pure amazing trade, like, oh, I did so well out of this or anything. I did okay, right? But, and you'll see as the video goes on what I'm justifying that under, right? But we're speaking about in the video, I mentioned somebody anonymously on the video the other day, and then they went and just said thanks, put their name out there. But when you're, pardon me, no matter how much money you've got, relative to you, whenever you put a lot of money into one player, you are increasing your risk and you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position on one player, okay? So we bought 100 Christian Erikson when he was 492, right? I don't know what the maths is, but see, it'll probably be about here, £1.60, £1.62. It's about that part of the graph there. I don't know, yeah, just on that downwards when he was on that high anyway, just on the way down, I seen it as a good chance to buy him. We picked him up, right? Now if you look at the graph, he spent the vast majority of the time that we held him below the level that we bought him, so he was negative for so long, okay? Now, when you've got, at that time, around 50% of my portfolio in one player, and you can do one of two things. You can just quick sell the lot at some point when you realise you've had enough of waiting for him to turn, or you can mitigate your losses, sell some of your holding, use that money somewhere else. When it makes money, bring it back, put it back on the player. They're now cheaper, so you've made profit and you're buying them at a cheaper rate, so you bring down your liability with them, so on and so forth. So that's basically what we've done with Erikson, and I'll show you the little case file that we're going to go into right now. Before we go into this, guys, I'm just going to tell you, when I show you all the details I've done, right, what I've done is I've had to comb, and I mean comb, my transaction history and condense it down here, okay? If you want to compare it to the last video you've seen, you'll see that, you know, it's all justified, it's all truth. And if you really wanted more information, I'll give you screenshots or something. I don't know if you're that mental, but if you want to, you can have it. You're welcome to. I'm not bothered at all, okay? Now, the reason I'm showing you this, guys, and the reason we're going to do this topic on the video is just to help you understand that you don't need to, because somebody's not quite going the way you want them to short-term, price-wise, that you wanted or expected, doesn't always mean that they're a dud and you should drop them and move on somewhere else, right? The reason I say that to you is as I look at the index this morning, who's top of the trending list? Mason Mount, okay? Now, I had 25 Mason Mount in old money, 182 or something like that, and he's now 149 in new money. You know, so he's took a massive rise since Lampard's come out and said, oh, he could go to RB Leipzig and he might not go back to Chelsea, and oh, he's ready for the step up and all this stuff as well. I'm probably going to buy him again because I think this time next year, or even just after this, there's no reason why he's not going to be the same price as Foden. There really isn't. So he's my yardstick for Mason Mount, but I'm going to wait for a bit of this hype to calm down and plateau out a little bit, and before I go back on him, because I've just gutted I've missed out on him. So had I not done that, well, basically I sold my Mason Mount and I bought some Wan-Bissaka and I bought some Fraser. They both did well. They've just not did as well in short-term price burst as this Mason Mount. But Fraser, and I've sold Wan-Bissaka and bought some Maxi Lopez and some Will Hughes. So, you know, that money's still working, and, you know, it's not the be-all and end-all. But when you see something like that, you do feel bad. And this is what it's to help you avoid doing, guys. If I got rid of all my Erikson, and then the next day or within a week or something, sod's law, he jumped up in old money to like £5.20, where he's kind of at the now, I would have been raging, you know. So it's just about this, okay? So let's dive into the sheet and I'll show you right now. Straight away, what you're going to see here is a big list of transactions. This is me combing through and finding everything as I've done it. Buy, sell, quick sell, buy him, sell him, buy him, sell him. That's the profit. I got some dividends on him. So I'm going to quickly walk you through, right? So we buy 100 Erikson at 492, old money, it says 492, right? We also have 17 Zapata that we had chilling out on the side. We quick sold some Erikson, we bought some Leao, we then sell our Zapata, buy some Erikson, we quick sell some more Erikson, we buy some Coman, we buy some Erikson, we sell some Erikson, we buy Goretzka, we sell Erikson, we sell Goretzka, we buy VVD, we buy more Erikson, we sell Erikson, we buy some Silva, then we have the split, and we sell all the Erikson, okay? All these numbers are all condensed down below, okay? So this is what Erikson is equal to, okay? Erikson is equal to 492 plus and minus all the times we've bought and sold Erikson, okay? Now, what I've also done is I can tell when I've quick sold because I've made a note of it, okay? Every time I've quick sold somebody, you're losing money to the spread, you're giving money to the football index, okay? You really, if you're doing this level of detail with a holding, you need to consider the spread, because it is money that you're forfeiting to them to release that money instantly to be able to reinvest it and play with it somewhere else. So to not include that is naive, or you're trying to be misleading. If you're trying to show somebody your profit and loss and you don't account for quick selling spread when you have done it, you're the money you've forfeited. So let's say I've bought Erikson at £4.92. If I then quick sell him at 477, you can see the first yeah, you can see the let me see, minus 49.20. Oh yeah, so I've got minus 49.20 because that was the quick sell value, and where is it at the top? Yeah, so we quick sold him at 43.90, right? But off the value of him, I need to take off 49.20 because that's how much my average cost of Erikson was at that point. So he's worth 49.20, but I'm only getting 43.90 for him because of the quick sale. That's all that's coming into my account for me to play with, okay? But I need to take the 49.20 off the value because that's money I've lost, okay? So yeah, you look through all this, and then you get at the bottom. Once we do all the pluses and minuses, all the sold and all the purchases, we then have 150,166 of outlay that's still unaccounted for, okay? On top of that, we have a quick sell spread loss of 530, 941 and £4.10, okay? We then balance that against profit that we've injected into Erikson. So we had profit from Zapata, we made a loss on Leao, so we need to take that off again. We then made a profit on Coman, we get some dividends out of Erikson, so we're then balancing that liability against £14.50, okay, because that's not my money, that's profit I've earned elsewhere, and also we made a loss, even though we were in a great position of profit. We just timed the sell on him and anticipated the market on him quite poorly, okay. So when we take away that liability of 150,166, okay, that leaves us with 358.70, okay. So 358.70. If we then, we'll just keep going. If we then balance that against all the Erikson transactions, it gives us an £18.36 profit, okay? But we have £18.81 loss for the quick sale, which means Erikson as an individual is 45 pence of a loss, right? Which on a 400 or let's just even say £358 investment, 45 pence of a loss is, I've not even worked out the fraction because it's just small, right? We still have on the table, but from that £492 that we've pulled out and reinvested, we still have £104 of that in Van Dijk, which is now worth £148.80 plus the £3.20 he's earned us in dividends, and we still have £45 of that in Silva, which is now worth £43.20. Okay, so we take the Virgil van Dijk money, the Silva money, and all that together adds up to £195.20. Our liability of what's still on the table is £137.16, which means the £492 we started with Erikson is currently sitting at a £57.59 profit, which means between January and April we've got 11.7% in net profit. Okay, now to get a, let's call it 12% profit on a holding. There's Mason Mount going down already, that's nice. On a player who for 98% of the time we held him, he was negative, is absolutely amazing. Now, had I just held him, we would have made something like, if I'd held him to, you know, we had them at 160, he's at 170 there now, so that isn't even 10% of a rise if we just held him for that full length of time, okay? Now, you can't predict the future, and you cannot predict how people's prices are going to move, okay? But especially when you're investing in a long-term hold, which 4 months for me is kind of long-term, because I don't really hold people too long. I like to flip and move, okay? But when I commit a lot of money to it, you have to understand if you just quick sold it, I would have quick sold them all for £439 if you think about the first quick sale that we done. So I would have thrown away £70, boom, and then you're having to start again on your next holding, £70 down. You've got to recoup that quick sell money. Is the position you're quick selling to move into that valuable that it is going to take care of the spread in such a short and quick period of time that you'll then be in a position of profit very quickly? That is a fundamental question you always need to ask yourself before you quick sell anyone, especially a significant holding. Okay, what you also need to do as well, guys, is all these numbers you see on this page here, is you need to take them all with a pinch of salt, as I've said to you a million times, okay? When you've got big positions, this is the level of detail you need. I would suggest you need to commit into it and understand where all your money's moving, where you're losing commission. And all these numbers, guys, are 9 to 8%. I'll take off the 2% commission on absolutely every one of these transactions, okay? Because the 2%, you give it away, you give it away. It's unavoidable, okay? So this is what I wanted to show you today, guys, is just the Erikson case file. I want this to be the last video I mention Erikson unless I buy him again. And you might think I'm mad for saying that, but he's still an amazing hold. He's really cheap. I just don't want to look at him personally. Just don't want to look at him for a while. I might come back to him, who knows. The better Van Dijk does, the better Silva does, this profit margin increases, and when we close those positions, then we'll be in a finite position of profit. But the way Van Dijk is going, he's not going to do a Leal on us and go from a position where Leal was on a profit here of like £13 or £14, and he then went to minus £9, so I had to quick sell him to get on. Oh, I don't know, he was dying a death, Leal. He was dropping and dropping and he wasn't recovering, and we moved him into probably Mason Mount, actually. So we could even tie in our Mason Mount money and then the Mason Mount money into the Wan-Bissaka and the Will Hughes money into this equation as well, if you really wanted to put arms and legs on this. I've tried to keep it concise to just the 492 that we started with 100 Erikson, and how I've broke that down. Just sell a little chunk of them, use that money somewhere else. We see an opportunity, we take advantage of it. We bring that money back in, you know, we've made profit, we've reduced our risk in him. Because I still believed in Erikson this whole way. I didn't lose faith in the fact that he's a good hold. And by the time we've sold him in a nice position of profit. And those transactions themselves have ended up £18 up. Which on the £358 that was still remaining in Erikson, to be £18 up, that's about 5%. So that's not too bad, really. But we quick sold £18.81 of our money into oblivion. That has to be addressed, and if you don't address that, you're kidding yourself on. Now, I'm really glad I've got into this kind of vein of conversation, because we've probably all had the emails now, your all-time trading profit on Football Index, okay? Now, the first thing that struck me about this when I received it myself is that it does not equate for your 2% anywhere in that. Nowhere does it equate for your 2%. So I've seen guys, and you're like, wow, this guy's made 100 grand and 50 grand, and that's amazing, right? But their 2% commission has not been taken off that, okay? Now, you don't take 2% off the profit, okay? You take 2% off of their portfolio value, which is going to be probably the biggest amount. And that is going to make a big difference to anyone's profit margin, you know? I think it pretty much took about 40% off of the figure they sent me, you know? So, you know, take that with a pinch of salt, guys, when you see that around, because your portfolio, you can, if you have enough money, you can buy a nice portfolio and make it look like you know what you're doing and you're amazing. And I'm not saying anyone doesn't know what they're doing, but it can be misleading, guys. And that's why I always endeavour to push the boat out and show you the pounds and pennies, exactly where it's going, how it's going, when, how. You know, I don't do things retrospectively. This is retrospective because I think you can see it had to be, right? But with everything else, guys, I try and be proactive. I try and tell you things ahead of time. I try and show you things before they pop. And you know, Mason Mount, I've not made money on him, but if you bought him after we spoke about him and all the Chelsea news, then well done to you for holding on to him, keeping the patience. I congratulate you. You've done really well out of that. But yeah, 11.7%. from January to April. I want to finish on this note, guys, okay? Football Index official channel, they were doing one of these videos post-split, and the guy, John Cole, or Adam Cole, yeah, Adam Cole, he said, and this stuck with me, if you bought, in the beginning of, if you bought January 2018, you bought one future for every player in the index, you would have been 19% up total, okay? Now again, he's probably just knowing what Football Index are like after those profit emails that get sent out. That's probably not equating for your 2% commission, right? But even let's just say 15%, right? If you bought one future in every player, you'd be 15% up roughly, okay? So for me, that's the real benchmark of where you want to start in terms of any targets that you're setting for your portfolio as a whole, any individual players, anything like that at all. 15% has to be a kind of point where you then start to look anything beyond that as being really good trading on your part, really good success, okay? So that's the benchmark, guys, we're looking at, okay? So over a quarter to make 11.7% on an okay sum of money, £492. That's a great place to be. We then move that money into the next quarter, and we might do this, I don't know if I've got the attention span to keep this going with this same £492, but no, I probably don't. But you can see the point, guys. You can see the gist. If you can do that in a quarterly period, then if you accumulate that and it compounds itself over the year, then you can easily see yourself making 40%, 50% over a year, as long as you're smart and you're sensible. Okay. I know it's been a bit dry, and I've been kind of a little bit all over the place. I've just been trying to keep this as informative and to the point as possible, okay? If you've enjoyed the video, guys, please like it. If you're still here watching this video and you've not already, please subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot to me. Interact in the comment section below. Anything you don't understand, any questions you want to ask, any similar experiences you want to share as well, brilliant. And I'll try and catch you on the next one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.